Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about the Reviv Mouthguard. This is my honest review. Let's dive right into it. So the product is marketed as a transformative oral device. It claims to cultivate TMJ disorders, bruxism, sleep disturbances, and even enhance facial aesthetics, structure, and posture. Developed by Ken Lever, the product is sold through the official website and comes with the support community offering guidance, blah, 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 blah. You know, the whole let me fix all your problems gig with a copy and paste, not medically certified dental splint meant to stop teeth grinding. Now, Ken Lever, the founder of Reviv, has no formal qualifications in dentistry, orthodontics, or related medical fields. Now, I'm not going to be holding that against him for the sake of this video, but the lack of, verifiable professional credentials raises questions about the clinical expertise behind the product's development and manufacturing. Alright, now moving on to the claims of the Reviv Mouthguard. So the creators of Reviv assert that its mouthguard can realign the jaw and skull to improve overall health, restore natural curvaceous, enhancing facial structure, cultivate TMJ pain, and reduce teeth grinding, improve sleep quality and posture, and reverse signs of aging by inflating facial tissues, whatever that means. That last one is very hilariously false, and it's a big myth while regarding muscle relaxation while wearing mouth guards. But in reality, yes, it will protect the masseters from being overworked, but it's not going to plump the face in any way, shape, or form. Mouth guards do not stimulate collagen, increase fat, bone, or any volume gain in the face. I don't know what they're talking about. Now, before we get into the scientific validity of the claims made by Reviv, let's watch a clip from our beloved Reviv founder, Ken Lever himself.
The key thing to understand in this game is, I wrote an article about the jaw-body connection, is that the way to have a perfect symmetry of the skull, and this is what I learned back when I was deep into this at 16, and I'm now refiguring out as part of how I recover, is that if you just wear a rubber mouth guard, you start to plateau. But then anything that is tight in your body reflects in your skull. Right? It's kind of like the way the osteopaths think. Right? So I can't lift my arm past here. So I know that if I put a rubber mouth guard in and I just hold this stretch and then I do some stretching with the jaw until this finally loosens up, that's kind of stretching this band that goes through the whole body. And that is actually how you change your face.
Now, going back to the scientific validity of the claims of Reviv, for the most part, this is horrendous misinformation. There is no scientific literature in existence supporting the claims of any type of myobrace or dental mouthguard realigning jaw and skull to improve overall bodily health in any medically proven way whatsoever. What they can do, though, a myobrace can guide jaw and facial muscle development in growing children and can influence minor skeletal patterns before puberty, but definitely not in any of these adult marketing this Reviv. Dental mouthguards are designed to protect teeth from bad grinding habits, to protect them from trauma or to stabilize jaw from TMJ treatment. It does not apply any orthodontic or orthopedic force. It will not move bones in adults, not even children. This is pure idioticness. Reviv is not a myobrace, which in children can have very small impact on minor malocclusions, but Reviv is basically a non-medical dubbed product of a traditional dental mouthguard used to prevent teeth grinding. Now, let's look at some clips from a video from a creator by the name of Meology, one of the big marketers of Reviv. Context, this video is about how to fix a recessed chin.
Why this works? Let's first look at why chin becomes recessed in the first place. Recessed chin isn't just about your mandible sitting too far back, okay? It's really about the entire system of your face and cranium being out of balance. So if the upper jaw, if maxilla is rotated or collapsed, then the lower jaw doesn't have the space or guidance to sit forward either.
I love how she showed reference pictures of people with an actually, decently well-projected maxilla, and she used it as an example for maxilla being, quote, collapsed. What she's actually referencing is someone with a recessed chin because of vertical maxillary excess or clockwise rotation, or a combination of these two because they're often congruent factors which can cause clockwise rotation in the mandible, resulting in recessed chin, which looks like this example image here. As you can see in his before pictures, he has super low gingival margin because the face of his maxilla grew physically downwards, like pulling down a curtain. This downward growth of the upper jaw caused his mandible to stay down, keeping his chin recessed. But then surgeons improved his condition by superiorly positioning the maxilla through a type of leaf-fork procedure, and now you'll notice that his gingival margin is much higher up, his chin-to-filter ratio in the front profile is much larger, and most importantly, his chin recession was improved greatly. Now back to the original reference picture that Meology brought up. She's blaming her chin recession on the maxilla being collapsed, but this woman has an extreme case of mandibular hypoplasia. This is a total opposite issue than what she's talking about. And yes, and especially at this woman's case, this is only fixable under the knife, through BSSO, IVRO, or even mandibular distraction osteogenesis. But ironically enough, when I reverse search this image, it's from a journal on maxillofacial oral surgery. But unfortunately, I'm not gonna know what she got because I'm not paying $30 for this ebook.
And then body, more specifically cervical spine, it has to respond to that by engaging completely wrong muscles, and that engagement of those muscles is what locks the jaws in that set back position, and that leaves no space for maxilla or mandible to move.
I really don't like this biophysical logic whatsoever, because although the jaw and bodily postures do influence one another, body posture has a much greater impact on jaw posture than the reverse that she's describing. The cervical spine does not react to a position of the jaw, but more often the jaw reacts to a position of the cervical spine. Deep neck flexors and upper trapezius affect mandibular reset position, and jaw opening angle and forward head posture often causes jaw shift. But we have to remember that jaw posture and neck posture is a huge different subject versus jaw growth and facial skeletal positioning.
And something not many people realize is that our jaws, more specifically teeth, that are aligned on our jaws, they have a certain curve, which is natural. It's not really visible here, but that curve is called the curve of Spee. Now, when face, because of the poor habits, it becomes recessed and flat, the curve of Spee becomes flat as well. And
Alright, so a flat curve of Spee is actually not really caused by habits alone whatsoever, natural habits that being the case, but more actually caused by skeletal growth patterns, like what both a logical person and science would conclude to. A flat curve of Spee is factored from genetic or developmental issues, most commonly like class 3 malocclusions or vertical growth tendencies, which are more often genetically induced. And also remember, when I'm saying genetically doesn't always mean hereditarily. So, we have epigenetics, we have a lot of things that play into genetics, and what certain things like methylation, which can, turn on and off certain growth factors, tendencies for a variety of different reasons.
And that's very traumatic for body biomechanics. So then cervical spine and body, they have to respond in order to stabilize the joints and stabilize your bones.
Alright, so this is a very interesting claim, and I haven't heard it before, which led me to do a bit of a research on the matter, and it turns out that the direct evidence linking a flat curve of Spee to any specific cervical spine changes is very limited in our current database. Yes, we know that there's a significant association between craniocervical posture and both the dental and skeletal malocclusions. However, these studies do not specifically address the impact of flat curve of Spee on cervical spine postural adaptation. It's more of the case that these occlusions, irregular jaw growths, etc. can commonly cause a flat curve of Spee, but that does not mean that the flat curve of Spee makes the neck and body react. This claim is a classic case of correlation without proven causation.
Now, making a curve of Spee go from flat to curvy, which is optimal curve of Spee, that will free your mandible and move your jaws forward.
Unflattening a flattened curve of Spee definitely does not unlock mandibular or induced jaw growth. In adults, growth plates have already closed, so repositioning the teeth cannot promote skeletal changes. In children, while jaw growth can be influenced by functional appliances, adjusting the curve of Spee alone does not stimulate mandibular growth whatsoever. This is a horrendous claim not backed by any evidence and misrepresents the biological limits of orthodontics. Altering curve of Spee affects bite alignment but not skeletal development. And then to support my claim, from a PMC peer-reviewed orthodontic journal, quote, "The curve of Spee correction does not promote mandibular growth." And then another from a MDPI peer-reviewed clinical study in pediatrics, "Orthodontic interventions in adults does not lead to skeletal mandibular advancements."
By adding dental height, the soft tissue in your mouth will stretch and new muscular pattern and activity will be established, okay? And that means that whatever has been keeping your jaws locked up, it will now have to let go, it will have to release, and your jaws will move forward naturally. So the best way to add dental height is by wearing a remodeled oral splint made by silicone.
Oh yes, of course, just wear my knockoff non-medically certified dental mouth guard to correct your flattened curve of Spee. This is ridiculous. Reviv cannot change the curve of Spee because it does not apply a continuous control to orthodontic forces. The curve of Spee to do the tooth to jaw alignment, which requires precise tooth movement, which is impossible with Reviv or any dental mouth guard in existence to move teeth because it lacks fixed anchorage or directional force. And now that we're on the topic of moving teeth, Reviv is also marketed to straighten people's teeth, which is just as illogical. If that was the case, orthodontics would give their patients rubber mouth guards instead of the over 200 years of orthodontic appliance usage. If that was the case, then all football players and boxers would have perfect teeth. That was a joke, obviously, but... Now back to the actual mouth guard itself. Reviv is designed, I'm pretty sure it's designed to actually give someone a posterior open bite, which for anyone wondering, is not ideal. Your molars in the back do not touch, and it's harder to chew. And in most cases, it's considered a malocclusion that may require orthodontic correction. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, how the hell does Reviv cause an open bite if I just had a huge rant about how dental mouth guards not being able to move teeth? And here's how. The teeth aren't actually physically moving around in the alveolar bone. The mouth guard changes the bite by keeping the molars slightly separated for extended periods. This constant separation prevents normal occlusion contact, leading to teeth to react to new position. However, Ken Lever sees the posterior open bite as beneficial, claiming it restores vertical height and matches the curve of Spee. But most dentists disagree with this. Normal mouth guards avoid creating malocclusions. For this reason, this will negatively impair chewing, and it does not change occlusal curve whatsoever. It's only changing jaw contact. It's a huge delusional fallacy. And now for the anatomical customization of Reviv itself. In general, individual anatomical differences mean that the effectiveness of oral devices can vary based on a person's unique dental and skeletal structure. Now, for some better alternatives, remember that dental mouthguards are designed for individuals seeking relief from TMJ disorders, bruxism, aka teeth grinding, or sleep-related issues. I highly recommend, if you have any of these issues and you want them fixed, speaking with someone who can give you a tailored solution for your specific issues. Talk to a orthodontist, sleep dentist, biometric airway dentist, or any doctor who is specialized in treating your specific issues. Now, for the final verdict of this video, the Reviv Mouthguard, it presents itself as a multifaceted solution for various oral and Semitic issues. While some users have reported benefits, the product's exaggerated claims often exceed what is sustained by scientific evidence regarding dental mouthguards. The lack of professional endorsements and clinical trials further casts doubt on its efficiency. It's not going to fix your facial symmetries. It's not going to transform your face. Individuals struggling from teeth grinding, etc., and who are considering Reviv should really look for a better option.
So that's how I chose the Reviv 1, because it's stretching all this soft tissue inside your mouth. Eventually it's going to try to open up your arches, like your teeth should fall into a nice line.
And your skull actually widens.
And all this, this is soft tissue that's stretching. Like the volume of my skull has probably increased 30% or more in the last 4 years. And that is because all this tissue is stretching.